Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go over a civ that I don't play very often, but when I do get a good game with them, they always feel fun. And that's Shaka and the Zulu. The Zulu might be the most straightforward domination civ in the whole game. Every single one of their abilities is easy to use and obvious. Their unique ability is Isibongo. Conquering a city upgrades your unit into a corps, army, fleet, or armada, and that's really useful because they're not left behind on naval maps. The fleet and armada bonus is something that I always forget about, but you can only do this if the necessary civic has already been researched. Cities with a unit gets +3 loyalty, which is a lot, or they get +5 if they're a corps or an army, which is a lot more loyalty. +5 loyalty is going to keep you loyal pretty much no matter what. This is a very simple bonus. Corps are better than single units, and armies are better than corps, and if you play domination games, you should always be trying to get corps and armies, which is something that I almost always forget about in my domination games. But the issue is whenever you start making corps and armies, you lose unit mass. Now they make up for this because they have such a high combat strength compared to single units. But sometimes you just want more hits on the city or other units in the area rather than just stronger hits. But the Zulu doesn't have this problem. They can have 12 units on the field, conquer a city, and get a corps, and still have 12 units on the field, and that's pretty strong. You can take over civs pretty easily, and then you can keep a couple of units around to keep those cities loyal until they grow a little bit in population and then just move forward. This ties in really nicely with Shaka's ability, Amabutu. You get your corps and armies much earlier at mercenaries and nationalism respectively. Getting a corps at mercenaries is nutso because that's so much faster than anybody else in the game. This makes you always have a combat advantage over pretty much everybody if you get that timing right. Your corps are also stronger, getting 5 bonus strength. And yeah, so easy. You're supposed to be focusing on conquering and getting corps and armies. It's easy to understand, it's easy to pull off. You get corps easier because you're able to get them through conquering. Your same thing with armies, you're able to get them easier and earlier. Add to this the Kanda Unique District, which is a half-cost encampment that gives you 1 extra housing, that allows you to train corps and armies without a military academy. So you're not just relying on getting corps and armies through conquering, which is not always reliable. You could just straight up start building your corps and armies. Also, you get 2 gold and 1 science per building, usually netting you about 4 gold and 2 science per Akanda. Now that's not like an amazing amount of gold and science, but it's still really good. This district rocks. So you want to focus on corps. Maybe it's hard to get your non-core units to take cities. Guess what? Not a problem. You can just build them, and you can also build them faster, and you can build them earlier. And the district also provides the gold that you need to maintain those corps. So get one of these in each and every city that you own and conquer, and it'll add up fast to keep those armies funded. Finally, to tie all these things together is the Impy, possibly the best unique unit in the game. It's a pikeman that gets 50% extra XP, so you level up faster, you get your promotions faster, you get extra flanking bonuses, so if you have scores of impies together, they're going to be helping each other out. They're 55 production cheaper to build, so it's easier to have more of those impies together, and they are cheaper to maintain. So it's super easy to get to pikemen from spearmen, right? So all you gotta do is, you need pottery, writing, currency, mathematics. You also need mining and bronze working to get spearmen in the Akanda. You need to get a kill with a spearman to boost into military tactics. So this is, not the easiest thing, but it is kind of a fast beeline. It's the earliest medieval unit you can get, and the Impi are great. Once you get Impy corps and armies, they start going nuts because they're so easy to produce. You just swarm all over the map with them, all over the place. They're super easy. Now, listening to this, it sounds like the Zulu are crazy strong as a civ, but I actually don't think that's the case. They are crazy strong as a domination civ. but you really have to hit those timings to make them work. You want to be able to take over a neighbor's cities as soon as you get to mercenaries, right? You want to be able to get to military tactics early and mercenaries early to start getting those corps and armies rolling. You want to make sure that your neighbor doesn't have like walls and stuff by the time you get your timing down. You need to get econdas early. You need to research bronze working early, but bronze working is pretty expensive. Mercenaries is a little far down the tree. You might not always be able to get 3 barb kills. That doesn't always happen, and you might not have a ton of culture to get you to your cores fast. The getting to the impy is easy, but the impy doesn't win the game without becoming a core. So you really need to get mercenaries as well. If your neighbor is super far ahead of you, they're going to be pretty hard to take down. So you need to get that fast. So I like to play them very culture heavy and production heavy to get that as fast as I can. You really don't get an amazing early domination bonus, and you have no bonuses to econ early. Everything that the Zulu have come online in about the medieval era. So you need to lay down a strong foundation to get to that point. However, once you get to mercenaries, if you can pop off, you will pop off and you will win. And if you struggle to pop off and you can't conquer cities, well then you start building cores instead of transforming armies or transforming units into cores, and you'll still pop off because you're gonna be stronger than anybody else because they can't get cores as early as you. When I play as Shaka, I try to get 3 or 4 cities down with econdas while I'm building spearmen and monuments in all those cities. If I have time, I try to get an amphitheater or 2, or a theater square or 2, I mean, to get 2 mercenaries as fast as I can. I also want a battering ram or 2. I also try to get 3 archers as fast as I can because I want to rush machinery as well. When I can get to impies and impy cores, I find a neighbor, I upgrade my spearmen, and I use this first wave to get a few cores from capturing cities. I plant more econdas, and then I start building my cores instead of relying on my bonus to upgrade into cores. That bonus to upgrade into cores really should be a first wave bonus, and then you're just building cores after that from then on. A trap that people also fall into is you just build melee cores in armies because you want to be taking cities. Like the bonus is if you take cities you get cores and armies, but that's not good. Like I said, that bonus is a first wave bonus, right? You first wave through, you take a couple of armies out, you take a couple of cities out, get your cores and your core up. But then you start building your crossbow cores and your siege cores. Think of how strong a crossbow core is in the medieval era before anybody else can get them. You use them to start taking down walls. If you get a trebuchet core early enough, you're going to just smash through everybody. One thing to also note is that heroes and vampires can't upgrade to cores, so just ignore those. I think the Zulu work better outside of those game modes, in all honesty. They're not going to help you any more than an impy would. The Zulu are a 10 out of 10 domination civ. You are hard focused into aggression. You have no other real bonus. Once you get that ball rolling, don't stop producing units and cores, just keep pushing. But you have to lay the foundation for that push and not get ahead of yourself. Doing anything else is a 0 out of 10. Religion, science, culture, diplomacy, those are un-Zulu victory types. If you roll the Zulu, you know the game you're getting. You are not going to be playing a culture game as a Zulu. You're not going to be playing a diplomacy game or a science game or a religious game as a Zulu. You are going for a domination victory. So put all your eggs in that basket. Everything else, 0 out of 10. Now, I do not think the Zulu are an amazing overpowered civ. I think they do what they do incredibly well, but the most overpowered civs are the civs that can do anything incredibly well. In the case where you're going for a domination victory and you get that timing down, the Zulu are an A+ tier civ, but that's not always going to happen. What I like to look at the Zulu as is a civ that helps you learn domination with that strong timing focus. How fast can you get to that mercenaries and military tactics rush? That's going to determine the rest of the game. If you can get it without dying, you're gonna have a good time, but that's not always going to happen, and that drops Shaka into the B tier. You are so focused into doing the one thing that you do incredibly well that you're inflexible and you can't function in any other way. He's B. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.